Hello and welcome to busyworksbeats.com. Today we're going to go over how to create a melody in FL Studio. If you have no other plugins and you just want to get started with the stock plugins, how can you create a nice melody? Now, I'm not going to go through every sound known to man in FL Studio that you can get from the stock sounds. We're going to create a pretty basic belly type of sound, which is really good for many different genres. So what we're going to do is open up the channel rack, click this button up top. We're going to click the plus icon so that we can add a new plugin. And let's go to 3XOSC. This is a synthesizer which is going to allow us to create a unique sound. Now by default, it sounds almost like an organ or a multi-layer sine wave with different octaves. If you don't know what that means, it's fine. You can go to busyworksbeats.com/sound design if you want to learn more about sound design and the parameters and terminology. So what I'm going to do here is make it simple. We're going to turn off the volume knobs for oscillators 2 and 3. So we're left with only one sine wave and one octave. Now we're going to go to this screen to shape the sound so that it has what's called an envelope. So let's click on the envelope tab. Let's go to volume. Let's activate the envelope. Let's turn down all our parameters except the decay curve, and that will shorten the sound, almost like we're hitting a bell. But if you want to make it more like a realistic bell, we're going to turn up what's called release. This is going to give the sound a tail. So when we hit a key and let it go, it's important to let the key go. It now has an extra ringy tail to it. I'm going to extend the decay so that when I hold the key, it lasts a little bit longer. Okay, now let's get into melody. So now you have a decent sound to start with. Let's get into what melody is and how to simplify it. So there's much more to melody than what we're going to cover today, but let's just go over the simple aspect of melody. Let's right click and go to piano roll so we can open up the MIDI screen. Now melody, the way they teach you in classical music theory is to start with a scale. And I think for melody that is a great place to start because it gives you a guidance system as to which notes you can actually play together. So in short, all you have to know how to do is play all the white notes. If you can play the white notes, you're okay. Now the scale could be C major or A natural minor. They both use the white notes. We're not going to get into specifics. Just know that you can play any white note and that will be considered the scale. So the question is, how do you put all the white notes together? That's the big question. So now you know that you're restricted to the white notes for the most part. How do you go about writing a melody? First, I would suggest you choose what's called a root note or a home key. So let's just start on the note C, middle C. Now what we're going to do is start from middle C. We're either going to go up or down. That's all you have to ask yourself. Do you want to go up or down? And that literally will guide you through your melody. Now melody has much more to it than just are you going up or are you going down your scale. And by going up your scale, I mean are you going from C to D? Let's turn the volume down a bit so it's not so loud. Okay, or are you going downward? Now you don't have to go upward and downward note by note. You can skip notes and do your own thing. And really, when it comes to melody, I actually suggest that you sit with your phone or your recording device. Just sit there before you even begin producing and just record the melodies from your head. Your brain is giving you song ideas. The whole point of production is to translate whatever your brain is telling you into your DAW. A lot of people do it the opposite way. They start with the computer and they're saying, computer, can you give me a great hit song idea? And the computer has no idea of any hit songs. Okay, because it doesn't create hit songs by itself. It takes the human thought, the human origin of that hit song to translate it into the computer. The computer is a tool. It is not the master. It's the slave. But we tend to give the computer too much authority when it comes to songwriting. Always put your brain before anything. Okay, so your mind will give you melody, and it's a matter of translating that melody. So think first. It sounds simple, but a lot of people just click around and they don't think of their song. It's like when you read a book, you imagine the images, whereas if you watch the movie, they already have the work done for you. No need to imagine anything. So it's the same thing. Use your imagination. Okay. So that's first and foremost. Now let's get into melody. Again, you could skip notes going up or down. I'm just going to pick notes which are pleasing. There's no rhyme or reason. I'm just going to pick notes which sound good back to back. I'm also going to slow down the tempo a bit so it's not as fast. Now here is a small trick, is to go outside of the scale. Now I mentioned I was going to keep it simple, but this is a really cool technique you can use, is to go outside of the scale to introduce what's called tension. And we can do this by using notes which are not the white notes, because our scale that we originated with was all the white notes. So going outside of the scale would be to use one of the black notes. And that's what we're going to do here to create what's called tension. Now I'm going to copy that same shape. I'm just going to copy it and move it over, but then change the note value. So we're going to swap these notes from G. I'm going to swap that to G sharp, and G sharp I'm going to pull down to G. So they flip sides. Now a lot of people get stuck on the 2-bar melodies and 4-bar melodies. Now it's cool for hip hop to have repetition in different genres, so you don't always need a 16-bar melody. But let's get into some other aspects of melody. So as you noticed, I copied that shape over and just changed a couple notes. You can do that as well. Now what we want to do is create a different type of shape, something to kind of even out this shape. Think of it like a plus and a minus value. You want to go up the roller coaster, back down until you're evened out in energy. Little esoteric there, but what we're going to do is create a different shape, is my point. In this case, we might be using a scale that's different than A natural minor. But anyway, keep in mind that whenever we use a note right next to each other, or G to G sharp, meaning a note away, a half step away, that's where we introduce tension. So listen to these pink spots and you're going to hear tension in the melody. Now here you can get a little more creative. I kind of just spread the notes out, so there's a big gap. But the difference is that we're changing the shape of the melody. We're going from this like dolphin shape to more of I was going to draw them out as elongated notes. Okay, so it's changing the shape of your melody. This is one aspect of melody you have to be focused on as well. When you're creating longer melodies, you're going to start noticing that there's a change in shape eventually. Now I'm going to change the melody up. Now here, again, it looks like we're using a different scale. I'm not going to get into all that jargon. You can go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory to learn a lot more for free. I know I'm leaving out some steps. I said we were going to use all the white notes. Things changed. That's just how it works. But if you wanted to keep it simple, just keep it to all the white notes, and those notes all work together. And you can create cool melodies that way. So the shape changed. Okay, we went from this kind of dolphin or fish shape to more of this seahorse type of shape, and then to a reverse dolphin shape. Okay, there's probably a better name for that shape, but it looks like a dolphin kind of out of the water, dolphin out of the water. Then we have like a seahorse or some kind of bird, chicken shape, and then we have a reverse dolphin. So these are all different shapes you're going to see in melody. It's not just repeating the same shape over and over and over again. It's what we kind of get caught into when we're writing melodies when we're first starting out. So think about changing it up, changing the shape of your melody. Okay, I just wanted to show you the multiple shapes in melody. Melody comes down to shape, and there's a lot more to melody. I know I'm leaving out tons and tons of different things as far as advanced melody, but you can learn a lot more at busyworksbeats.com/melody magic. I'll leave a link below for you, so just click that link below to get started now. Thanks for watching. It's busyworksbeats.com.